I can't actually feel comfortable that it's taping until I see the numbers in the bottom start to move. Good morning. Um, it's early. It's not super early, but it's kind of early. But there's a whale to be spotted on the Jersey Shore, so we are headed back to the beach today. That's our science and our gym for the day, whale watching on the beach. So, good morning. Thanks for joining me. I thought what we would do is just a morning stretch, move through some poses that feel good organically, and just find a little bit of a flow, but do a lot of side body stretching and a lot of spine stretching, because I know when I first wake up in the morning, that's what I need. So we're gonna get right to it. Okay, so you just need your mat and a blanket or a towel to sit up on for some parts of what we're gonna do. But for the most part, we're just gonna move and do what feels good and lengthen our side bodies, which is the area from your underarm down through your hip and our backs. Okay, so get comfy on your mat, lie on your backs, arms out at your side, big T position with the palms up. Okay, shimmy back here. Okay. How are you guys this morning? How are you doing with this heat? It's crazy, right? Like all of a sudden it's 100 degrees. Not quite, but you know what I mean. So, lie on your backs, arms at your side, palms up. Find your breath. Inhaling and exhaling in through the nose, drawing the breath all the way down into the low belly. Holding it there for a comfortable time of period of time, whatever is best for you. Usually a couple seconds works nice. And then exhaling. So I've gotten a lot of emails from local studios that I've been affiliated with that are starting to open up outside yoga in the park and things like that. I guess that was part of the governor's announcement the other day, that things like that could happen if they were limited to a certain amount of people and people socially distanced. And I don't know, maybe Cedar Grove will get some outdoor yoga soon. That would be kind of great, right? Like, I don't know, it's so hot, but it would be great just to be with people practicing, you know? So we'll see what happens. So as you're lying here on your back, let your body relax. You know, if you're doing this on Saturday morning, then you might have just woken up as well. Or if you're like a super early bird, you might have woken up and done a bunch of things and you might be wide awake and alert. But if you're like me, you kind of showered, you slept on a bunch of deodorant and moisturizer, kind of brushed your hair, and you're not really awake. I don't know where I was going with that, because I'm not really awake. But let your body melt. I think I've mentioned before that when I sleep, I move around a lot from side to side. I have this pillow that I hug so that my arm, when I'm on my side, doesn't just like hang and annoy my shoulder. So there's a lot. So I don't sleep soundly, and I don't feel like I sleep deeply. Like in the beginning of the quarantine, I was having those crazy vivid dreams that a lot of people were having. And I know I was sleeping deeply then because I was going into that dream state. But lately I feel like my dreams are all sort of on the edge of sleep and not sleep. You know, like they're kind of real and they're kind of not real. But I don't sleep well. I don't think I have since I had kids. So, but I'm not usually exhausted during the day. I'm exhausted by like dinner time, like after I've walked the dog a bunch of times and done laundry and worked out and done stuff like that. So it seems normal to me, but I don't know. So letting your body melt onto the mat, right? Focusing on your breath, the inhale and the exhale, the sound of your breath. And then doing a quick scan, starting at the top of your head and noticing if anything doesn't feel right. right? Like maybe if something feels a little off, a little wonky. Can you see my farmer's tan? Stops like right about here. There's a little pale line. It's my dog walker's tan, I think. We've been to the beach a lot though. Today will be our third time this week. There's a humpback whale traveling up and down the Jersey Shore. Like, how do I not try to see that, for crying out loud, with the kids? That's incredibly exciting to me. When I was really little, I wanted to be a marine biologist. And Alex loves the ocean. He loves everything water related. And the fact that I know people in real life that have seen the whale gives me hope that we can see it too. So it's been seen in like the Ortley Lavalette area. So we're going to Lava today. We're meeting my best friend and her kids. That's their favorite beach. I've actually never been there, even though I grew up here. I don't like to travel far for beaches. So we go to exit 100 and we're good. This is a little further, but it's a gorgeous day. So, all right, so I'm gonna do this with you, but I'm not gonna move my mat. The other day when I was trying to move my mat for every pose, it looked really stupid on video when I watched the playback, and also I don't think it's necessarily, I'm fine doing my poses on my rug. So I'm gonna turn around so that you can see my legs more. Here you are, right? Doing your big T. Knees are gonna come in and you're just gonna drop into a twist. It's kind of like a take your breath away twist for a second when it's your first pose of the day. You want this twist to target your mid back and then even into your low back a little bit. You want the legs to be heavy. Try to stack them. And then either look straight up or look towards your left hand, keeping the whole length of the back of the left arm grounded. Find your breath here, in and out through the nose, drawing the breath down into the low belly and then slowly exhaling. This is an interesting pose to me. It's so simple, but I like that this pose shows you that the more you can relax into a pose, the less effort you have to put into it, right? This is kind of an effortless pose, but for some people, they have to fight to keep that top knee down, or they have to fight to keep the back of the opposite arm down. And this truly is a pose where if you can take some deep breaths and let your body soften, it becomes so much easier and truly effortless. All right, let's bring the knees up to center. And rather than do a happy baby, since it's early and we're just getting started, we're just gonna put a hand on each knee and we're just gonna make small circles on our low back. So again, not so much a hip opener, but just a little bit of a spinal loosener, if that's even a phrase. And then we'll go in the other direction. Slippery pants. Okay, so keep the knees in, bring the arms back out, drop your legs over to your left, keep the right arm engaged with the ground, and look straight up or look towards your right hand, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And notice where you feel the lengthening in this. I feel it down my side body, but I also feel it wrapping across my abdomen too. Kind of the front of my hip, under my rib cage, and then straight down through the top of that quad. I'm watching a spider on my ceiling. It's kind of freaking me out. We have the brook behind us, and in the spring and in the summer, all the wild things come inside. All right, knees up to center. And this time, rather than going to a happy baby, we're going to just go wide with our feet and tower our knees in towards one another. And then take some nice deep breaths. So morning yoga, I think, is different than evening yoga in that your body's in a whole different place, right? I've always practiced later in the day. When I was working full-time before I had kids, I would always seek out the later classes, the after dinner classes, because that's what worked best with my schedule. And then when I had Alex, I would take him to like baby and me classes and morning classes, but it wasn't really my practice. It was more just hanging out with him. And then as my kids got a little older and I started to practice on my own and go back to some studio classes, I kind of liked Sunday afternoon classes as well as early evening classes. So I've always preferred practicing at night, but I've always taught mostly in the morning. Only in the last couple of years have I started teaching at night. But I think I like the process of opening your body up for the day in the morning, but at night I like the relaxation it brings. So I don't typically practice in the morning and not this time of day, but it's gonna feel good. Okay, so let's extend. Let's bring our knees up to center. Let's extend our right leg straight up in the air. Listen to your knee crack as you go. Press out through the four corners of your foot. Press out through the heel. Press out through the back of your knee. And then take your arms. You're going to interlace your fingers in the back of your thigh. And if that's too tricky, then just grab onto your pants. And keep your head down so you don't strain your neck. But just start to pull the leg a little bit towards you, getting a big stretch in the back of the hamstrings, back of the knee, back of the calf. It doesn't have to be a big effort, just any effort, and you'll still feel the lengthening. And then we'll bring that leg down. Same thing on the other side. So extend straight up, interlace the fingers in the back of that leg, or grab your pants, whatever feels best, and just pull a little bit towards you just to get the lengthening in the back of the leg. And remember to breathe into your stretching, right? Inhale as you pull the leg in, and then exhale as you allow the leg to settle. Bring the leg down, adjust your pants accordingly, and we are going to go into our clamshell, just to open up our shoulders a little bit. So let's all roll onto our left sides. You're stacking your legs here. You're stacking inner knee to inner knee, arch of the foot to arch of the foot, ankle to ankle. And you're trying to do hip over hip, okay? So head goes down, arms are gonna go out in front of you, palm to palm. On an inhale, the top arm, which is the right arm, is gonna sweep up and open, going all the way down behind you. And then as you exhale, you close that clamshell up. So move at your own pace, move on your own breath. You can do a couple of these or a lot of these, but you just want it to feel good in your shoulder and you want to practice moving on the breath. So whatever the pace of your breath is will determine the pace of your pose. Okay? Follow that top arm with your gaze. So move your head, move your upper body as the arm swings up and open. I don't know where the spider went, you guys. That's not good. We get those cave crickets too, or spider crickets. Those are super gross. The brook is so pretty, but it brings gross things. All right, on your next open, we're gonna stay open. So keep that right arm down. This kind of brings you right back into the twist position, but a little looser version of it. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling this a lot in the front of my hip and down into my quad. And it feels good, it feels nice. Nice deep breathing here, inhaling through the nose, holding it, and then exhaling. And then bring the legs up to center. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you might want to shift your hips over and then come onto your side so that you have lots of room. Stack your hands, right? Arms are going straight out to the side, palm to palm. Inhale and swing open. Exhale and close. Remember what I said, you might do less than me, you might do more than me. You're moving on the pace of your breath, and you're trying to sync up your arm movement and your upper body movement with your inhale and your exhale. So for you, that might be faster or slower. Come to one more open. Hang out here for just a couple seconds. You're back in that original twist, but it's a very looser version. Your legs are not pulled in as tight. You're stacked, but you're more on your side and on your shoulder blades even. And then come on up to center. This time, the bottoms of your feet are going to come together. Knees are going to go out to the side. And you're just going to hang out here for a couple breaths. So if your first instinct when we're doing this is to keep the knees up so that you don't feel the pull or the stretching, take a really big breath and just let them drop. Right? That's the part of softening into the pose that's tricky. We want to pull in tight and kind of protect ourselves when something's uncomfortable in a pose. But if you can soften into it and just allow it to happen, even if it's not feeling super, super great, it's going to give you a greater benefit in the long run. All right, so we are going to come up to sit. You're going to sit on your blanket or on your towel or whatever it is that you fold up and put underneath your tush when we're in a seated pose. For me, that is a trusty Mexican blanket because I have lots of them and they are just the right thickness and they don't move around underneath you, which I like. Okay, so I don't usually wear my hair down for yoga. That's how you know it's morning. It's not in a sweaty knot on top of my head, not yet. It will be. So, legs are wide. Feet are engaged, so you're pulling the toes back. You're pressing out through the four corners of your feet. Hiccups, random hiccups. So you're pressing out through your big toe mount, your pinky toe side, your inner heel, and your outer heel. Okay, and we are just going to, I don't know what this is called, mix the bowl, something goofy like that. But we're just gonna make circles here. We've been doing this a little bit lately. It's a good morning wake me up, right? It gently kind of puts things into alignment in the hip and the pelvic girdle if you've thrown things off through your sleep. I really want to see this whale. Supposedly there is a pod of dolphins following it that are eating, I guess, the scraps that the whale leaves behind. So from what I've been told by a couple girlfriends, you see the dolphins first, and then you see the geyser, like the water shoot up from the whale. So when we were on the beach Wednesday, Mike and the boys were in the water for like 5 hours. And I had a book, but I pretty much just stared at the water like a weirdo looking for the whale. Go in the other direction. You'll notice that when you go in the other direction, you might be a little bit bigger with your movements because you start to get a little bit more comfortable with the whole thing. You don't feel as creaky as you might have in the very beginning of doing this, right? All right, come to a standstill. Now, we're just gonna move forward into the sides. You don't have to do it as I'm doing it. You can do anything that feels good for you. I'm just gonna go forward first, but maybe going towards your left foot feels better for you right out of the gate. So just do what feels best. You know, maybe reach and play and kind of pull things and be gentle with yourself, but not so gentle that you're babying all your poses, right? You don't want to do that. It's a weird thing. I was talking a minute ago about the difference between morning and night yoga for me, or later in the day yoga. In the morning, you're stiffer. You can't quite you can't quite go into the same poses as easy as you do at the end of the day, even though at the end of the day, you've kind of abused yourself all day by just the nature of how we live and how we walk and wear our shoes and, you know, run after our kids and stuff. But in the morning, you definitely feel this stiffness. So it's almost more satisfying when something softens and opens, right? Come on down onto the right forearm. Extend up into the side with the left arm, lengthening up, but trying to keep the back of the left hip grounded. Nice big breathing here, inhaling and exhaling. Up, same thing on the other side. When you can do a pose in yoga that you can do on both sides, you always want to do both sides. So let's come into just a really gentle little hip opener. It's just a rocking motion. So you're going to bend your left leg in front of you, right leg out to the side, and you're going to turn a little bit so that you're over the left hip, over the left knee, right? Bring your right hand to the right hip crease. So the hip crease is where the thigh and the hip intersect. Just put your hand in that spot, and then just very gently rock forward, lifting the back of the right hip up off the floor, and just allowing things to slide back into place in case they got a little squifted overnight. I was going to film this class yesterday. I had high expectations for yesterday. Today's Friday morning, so you're going to see this tomorrow morning. But it was so darn hot. I walked the dog in the morning and I came back and did school with Cam. And we had to run down to my parents in Nutley and do something there real quick. And then when we got home, Cam had a Zoom and I did my Tabata, the thing I do on YouTube, the workout. And by the time I was done with that, I was just wiped out. I think it's the heat. Like even having the air conditioning on in the house and working out, you still get sweaty. So my time frame for doing this would have been yesterday after Tabata. My plan was to shower, teach a class, and then walk the dog again. And I didn't shower, so I couldn't teach. I mean, I showered, but I showered at the end of the day when I had like 3 workouts of sweat on me, so it wouldn't have worked out. Switch sides. Again, find your hip crease with the left hand, right? And then gently rock up so that you're rolling onto the right hip and lifting the left hip up off the ground a little bit. And then you roll it back down, but it's just a rocking motion that's gently going to put that hip back into alignment, hopefully, right? So something sad happened yesterday with the Tabata class. The one I do is 21 minutes and 40 seconds long. Because in my mind, I can withstand anything for 21 minutes, right? Anything. So it's a 5-minute warm-up, and then you do one set for 5 minutes, another set for 5 minutes, and then the cool down is like 2 minutes. And then in between, you'll either get like a 10-second break, which is not a break. You have to use those 10 seconds to get into your next position and not sip water and relax like he suggests you do, because 10 seconds is nothing. Or you get a 1-minute break. So the 10-second breaks I consider BS. The 1-minute breaks I really value. So come on up onto hands and knees. So we were doing something yesterday, and I guess I just either wasn't paying attention, or I had sweat in my eyes, and I don't know what happened, but I missed the 10-second period to switch from one pose to another. So, and I kept on thinking, and I count my reps in my head, so I was thinking, gosh, like I did a lot more today. This is awesome. I totally missed my 10-second break. And when you don't have the 10-second break, you realize how valuable the 10-second break is. So it sounds really stupid, but it was a real bummer. Okay, we're gonna cat and cow. So fingers are spread wide, toes are curled under. I'm gonna go sideways for this so that when we do press up into dog, I'm on my mat. So hands are in the front of your mat, fingers are spread nice and wide. On an inhale, arch, round your back up, drop your head. On an exhale, arch your back and look up. When you arch your back, try to really stick your hips out behind you. It'll feel better. You'll get a better release in the low back. Inhale. And exhale. Move at your own breath for a few seconds. So we're going to come to a tabletop position. I'm going to tuck my tank top in so that it doesn't roll up around my chin when I press up into dog. These are those pants that have that weird built-in ribbon tie. So there's a lot of bunchiness going on around my stomach. So curl your toes under, spread your fingers, lift your hips, come on up into your dog. Let the heels drop, press the hips towards the wall behind you. Reach out with your arms and really get a big shoulder stretch. Maybe go high on your feet. Do whatever feels good right now. Check your stance by inhaling forward into a plank. Engage the core. Press back into your dog. If your heels go to the floor, that's great. If they don't, that's totally fine too. One more deep breath in. Exhale the breath. And then come on down. And we're going to go right into a wide knee child's pose. Okay, so big toes touch. Oh, my nose is itchy. Knees come out to the side, hips are pressing back towards the heels, but not necessarily on the heels, and arms are out long in front of you. on up, hands and knees. We're going to come back up into dog. And this time we're going to walk our hands back to meet our feet, coming into a yoga pike. So hands come back. Where am I in the camera? I don't know. Forward bend here. Drop the head. Inhale up to your flat back. Really arch your back here and lengthen out through the crown of your head. Use this as a back lengthener, a spine lengthener, because that's all we're trying to do this morning is lengthen things, right? Exhale and fold. Inhale up, flat back. Arch the back just like you do in the second half of cat and cow. Exhale and fold. And then again, inhale up. Exhale and fold. So now you're going to walk your hands out into dog. Drop the heels, press the hips back. Find some room behind your shoulders. And then lift the hips up. Now this time we're going to walk the feet up to meet the heels, coming into a standing forward bend at the front of your mat. So ground down through your hands, take little steps. You can bend your knees, you can come up onto your fingertips like I like to do, and just forward bend at the front end of your mat. Drop the head. Inhale up, flat back, lengthen out through the spine. Exhale and fold. Inhale up, flat back. Exhale and fold. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale and fold. So we're going to come into a lunge. We're going to step back with our right foot. Wiggle the left foot out to the side a little bit. And just keep our hands down here on the inside of the front foot. Trying to get a 90-degree angle on the front knee. And just reaching out with the crown of our head to lengthen the spine, as well as lengthen the back of the back leg, right? And open up the front and the back of the left hip. So this little lunge is doing a lot for us. And then we're going to step up. And we're going to do the same thing with the other side. So we're going to step back with the left foot. Long lunge. Hands are on the inside of the right foot. And we're just hanging out here, pressing out through the left heel, reaching forward with the right knee, reaching forward with the crown of our head. And then from here, we're going to come into a wide-legged stance. So shift your feet and come into a wide-legged stance. Typically in yoga, if you bring your arms out to your side and get your ankles under your wrists, that's your wide-legged. But if that's too wide, then don't do that. Fingertips to the floor, drop your head. Let the hips lift high. Inhale up, flat back. Exhale and fold. Inhale up, flat back. I need a haircut. Exhale and fold. One more. Inhale up. Exhale and fold. This time, bring your hands to your hips. Find a 90-degree angle with your back. And just come up nice and slow to a standing position. Okay, so get your feet back together again. Always super graceful. Fix your pants. And just bring your feet about hip width apart on your mat, parallel. Lift your toes, press down through the four corners of your feet. Arms are going to be palms forward, head of the arm bones back. And we're going to sweep them up. Interlace, press up through the palms, but really ground down through your feet so you have energy moving in two directions. Go a little side to side. Maybe go to the back a little. Keep your arms up there. With your left hand, grab your right wrist and just pull the arm out. And then do the same thing on the other side. So right hand to left wrist, pull it out. Now, hands are going to interlace behind your back. Okay? I guess I'll go this way. You're going to squeeze your palms together and start to bring your arms down. I like to wiggle them out a little. Roll the head of the arm bone back. And just feel this mostly in the front of your shoulders. Nice deep breathing. So feet are again hip width apart and parallel. Right hand to left shoulder, left hand to the back of the right elbow. Just press. And find your breath here. You're not so much breathing on a movement here. You're just breathing, right? With the intention of taking big gulps of air. Switch it up. Same thing on the other side. I think we've been so lucky that we've been able to practice so much together, right? I know that we're set to practice through the month of June like this. I'm not sure what the plans are for July and August as far as Parks and Rec and the library go. I think there's maybe an outside class in the works, but I'm not sure. But my hope is that if you're newer to yoga, or if you're someone who has a hard time with a home practice, we were kind of forced into that, right? We were kind of forced into practicing by ourselves at our homes. So maybe this will encourage some of you to just practice on your own a little bit whenever you need it, right? Get your towel or your blanket. You know what? You guys lay on your backs, actually. Lay on your backs. I know that a lot of people are intimidated by the idea of a home practice because we think that it has to be planned out and it has to be, the poses have to work well with each other, and we want it to be just right? We want to do the things right. There's no right with yoga, and the poses don't have to be planned out. You just have to move and do what feels good, and that's what we did this morning. We just moved and did things that I thought would feel good, considering that we pretty much all just got up, right? It's very simple, and once you have a little library of basic poses in your head, you can link them together, or you can not link them together. A lot of the times my practices aren't flowy. They're kind of choppy, but they still feel really good. So my hope for you is that when this is over, and maybe we're not meeting online twice a week like we have been, if you're new to yoga, you'll continue. If you're not new to yoga, but maybe you haven't had time for yoga over the past couple of years, maybe you'll continue. Maybe you'll want to come and see what real classes are like, either with me or with someone else. It's good to try a variety of teachers. If the way that I teach and the way that I practice resonates with you, then by all means, sign up and take class with me. I'd love to have you. But if you think maybe you'd like a different type of teacher, then you should find that person. There's so many options around, right? Yoga studios are very plentiful right now. So and they need business, I'm going to think after the pandemic, you can always reach out to me and I can recommend someone to you. But my hope is that after this is all over, you'll just continue to practice. So what we did this morning was just moving organically, doing what felt good. Nothing crazy, nothing hard, nothing real sweat inducing, but I know that I feel good. My shoulders feel good, my back feels good, my hips feel good. I feel pretty good. So I hope you guys do too. I feel ready to get on with my day, at least, of whale watching. So you're lying on your back. Arms are at your sides. Palms are up. You're just going to start to breathe consciously. If you weren't, just start to breathe with intention, inhaling, drawing the breath all the way down, and then slowly exhaling and releasing. Let your mind wander for a second. Don't focus on any one thought. It's the start of a brand new day. And we still don't have a lot of options on places to go or things to do. So, you know, they're telling us that we're out of quarantine, kind of, but I keep telling my kids, just because they're saying we are, it doesn't mean we're going to be. We're still going to be, as a family, cautious. We have to be, because my parents are elderly. My dad's not as well as he could be. We don't want to make anyone sick, so I don't know, maybe you've got a full agenda today. I don't think we'll have a full agenda forever again. At least not until there's a vaccine, maybe. So start at the top of your head. Work your way down. Notice how you're feeling. Notice how certain big joints are feeling. Your hips, your shoulders, your knees, your ankles. Take a couple more deep breaths, and then when you're ready, roll over to your right hand side and come all the way up to sit. The next time we meet, I think we're going to do a little bit of a challenge. Part of this Tabata class that I do, just for fun. At the very end, he says, just for fun, let's hold dog for 1 minute. And it's a combination of dog and plank, but it's just for fun. So I think we'll do that in our next class and just see how everyone feels about that. It's not hard, but it's not easy either, because it's a lot of upper body. But we'll either end or we'll begin with that super fun pose. So, hands come to your heart in prayer. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in. Exhale the breath. Inhale one more time. And exhale. Namaste, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me yet again. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. Wish me luck as we go on our whale hunt. I'm just dying to see it. I don't know why, but I'm dying to see it. So I'll let you know next class if we got to see the whale. All right, so take care. I hope this was a really good start to your day. I hope you feel good. I will see you soon. Take care.